Good morning, this is Jack from Charlotte in the Market, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 8th of September. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm now here to issue trading signals. Right, okay, let's have a look at ES. Now, yesterday on Wednesday, I wrote a post talking about the decline we'd had on the Tuesday and basically suggesting we'd go back and retest the high on ES and pointing at the 6 buy signals we had at the low. Those all delivered. They've all made target, and we had a little bit of negative divergence that then played out in this little decline here on ES, and I think YM might have been RTY. No, it was YM. And then we've come back up and we're pretty close to retest the high. Now, the first thing I'd like to mention is that we've got this week a bullish leaning week. The stats are neutral today. On SPX, it's 67% bullish tomorrow, 76% bullish Wednesday and Thursday, and 57% bullish on Friday. So we have a pretty long bullish window this week, and I'm thinking we might actually use that to go up, and I've got a couple of targets if we do. In terms of ES, we've already retested the high. We've got a nice looking double top here. We can definitely go higher, and obviously that wouldn't do anything in terms of improving the topping setup. On NQ, we've got what looks an awful lot like a bull flag here, and I've got another bull flag on the Qs as well. I think this is a bull flag, and it's breaking up, and it's got a target not too far above, but above at a retest of this high. That could set up a double second high of a double top as and when we get that. RTY, potential double top here too. I've got more to say in terms of upside targets there, because of course we've got the bigger picture IHS, which is now actually getting fairly close to target. I'm thinking it might well go up and get that on YM. We had a little flag here. It only had a modest target at a retest of the high here, and it's already made that target. Got a beautiful level top here, but it's not really a compelling setup for a top here, and the stats are saying bullish, so I'm leaning towards the upside here. Looking at DAX, we barely made it off the ground, and Friday's decline took us almost back to the lows. This looks like a bear flag forming, and we've got the same sort of setup on ESTX. So these are lagging. The Europeans have been outperforming US most of the year, but at the moment they are lagging. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. And let's have a look at the hourly charts first. Okay, SPX, nice looking double top here. Obviously, we've got a fair amount of space here. When we were here, I was talking about retracement or consolidation. So far we've seen consolidation. If we're seeing some more of that, then we've definitely got some space has opened up above us below this trend line, and we could well explore some of that space. On the Qs, I've got a perfect bull flag channel here in the red dotted. Hasn't broken up yet, but I'm thinking that may well break up this morning. The target would only be to a retest of 58332, which isn't far above, but I am thinking I'm leaning towards that being made. On Dire, nice looking double top here. We've obviously got a bit of space above. That probably wouldn't do anything to improve the topping setup. And on IWM, we've got an IHS here. I haven't got it marked in on the hourly chart, but I've got it marked in on the daily chart, which I'll come to. And that IHS target is a retest of a high you can't see here, but it's up in about the 242 area, I think. We are now very close to that target, and I'm leaning towards that target being made. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts, and let's have a look at that IHS on IWM first. All right, looking at the daily chart, this is the IHS. Remember, I was calling this back in May, and we completed it, and we've broken up from it, and we're now pretty close to the target. We made it up almost to 240. The target is at 24304, and that is a retest of the November 2024 high. I'm thinking there's a pretty good chance we're going to make that this week. We have got some resistance trend lines above, and we've hit one and slightly overthrowing it here. This is my favorite one mainly comes from this low. I'm thinking we may well make it up there and maybe overthrow it a bit, and then maybe finally we see a decent retracement. But the fact is, sometimes you consolidate instead of retracement, and we've been consolidating here. There is an option here for a potential breakup. even if the trend line's suggesting that probably won't get far. All right, looking at DAX, we are well above the daily middle bands on everything. We did actually backtest the daily middle band on the Qs on and SPX on Thursday / Friday. On DAX, we haven't even managed to get back to the daily middle band at the moment. Does look like a bear flag forming. Nikkei, I am wondering about a retest of the high here at 43.9. That could set up a nice looking double top setup, and we managed to get back over the daily middle band. All right, let's have a look at the daily charts on the others. And hang on. Right, ES. We back tested the daily middle band in the last couple of days of last week on both of them, actually. So that was a nice test of support. We are holding the daily middle bands at the moment. The Qs, SPX, pretty much the same. Qs, we managed to, we tested the daily middle band on Friday, having broken back above it. So we've got to break back above. This would be a very good time to retest this high here at 583.32, and I'm thinking we may well do that. Looking at Dia, holding the daily middle band, that too was tested last week. Until we start seeing some breaks and conversions of the daily middle band on really more than one index, there's not an awful lot to see on the retracement side. All right, let's have a look at DX. Okay, DX, we went down and retested this low. There is a case here for you. So we've got this rising megaphone here. It broke down. And this, really, the obvious read would be this is a flag. If it is a flag, then I think we were talking about a low here on the continuous chart in about the 96.5 area. I'm thinking we may well go down and get that target. And set up a potential level bottom. That would do a bit of technical damage because that would break the rising megaphone that's been forming for the last 10 years or so. ZB, we broke up here and put, we could, the target was just from this flag to retest this high here. We've gone further than that, and I'm wondering, looking at the TNX charts, whether we might actually see a significant extension higher here on bonds. We got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. We don't need to see a significant extension higher here, but there is definitely room for that, and I'm wondering if we'll get it. On ZN, we had a nice looking resistance trend line here. That's been broken, and again, that's feeding into a possible narrative where we do see a significant move up on bonds here, which would be interesting to see. We've been consolidating, we've just been trading sideways on bonds for quite a while here. We're pretty close to some very big highs. It wouldn't be even particularly bullish for bonds to see a break up here. But what we might get more information about what's coming next from the next high on bonds if we do manage to do that. All right, CL, we had a flag here that had a target and a retest of this low. We've almost made it, but not quite. I'm thinking we're likely to make that target. We do have a setup here where we could go up directly. So I'm favoring to see some downside. We've got a couple of bottoming scenarios here on the bigger picture, because bigger picture, the picture is actually fairly bullish, and we would likely be bottoming here for a significant move up. One of those options is to go down and retest the lows in the 56 area, and that's the one I would prefer to see. The other one is that we're forming a right shoulder here on the bigger picture, and we could potentially go up directly from here. We'll see. Either of those would be pretty bullish. I'm favoring the one where we go back and retest the 56 low, but I'm not thinking there is an awful lot of further downside to be had once we've done that. All right, HO, we've got a possible bear flag here, which has broken down. If we've broken down through support, if we retest this high here, that could set up a nice little double top to take us back into a retest of this low. On RBOB, we had a head and shoulders here. It kicked around for a couple of days before heading down and making target. Again, I'm wondering about more downside here. But again, we've got a potential. I think RBOB, we don't have an IHS pattern, but I think on HO and CL, we do have nice looking possible IHS setups here. One reason I'm favoring a retest of the lows is because we don't have one on gas oil. All right, NG. I'm thinking we may be forming an IHS here. Ideally, we would go a bit higher, pull back for a right shoulder, back test the monthly pivot, and then potentially break up towards a target, which would be, I think, at about 3.9 area. This would be a fit with the seasonals. and it's come down from what it was. It was going to be that the rolls were suggesting that we'd be going up 1.5 over the next 3 months. That's down to 1.1, but of course, we have actually come up 0.4. So I'm still leaning towards seeing at least a significant proportion of that. So getting up into the 3.9 area wouldn't be out of a reasonable expectation of what would happen in that basically start of the winter move up in gas prices. That's a strong seasonal trend. So I'm taking that seriously. GC, we've gone to higher highs here. I'm thinking this could potentially go an awful lot higher. I did show last week in my chart of the day, one of my charts of the day, the monthly log chart I'm looking at on the gold chart, which is suggesting that we might see a move up into the 7,000 area. There are other options, obviously, but I am thinking that precious metals could be on the start of a significant run. On SI, we've had a significant break over resistance in the 40 area. I'm thinking we may have opened up the next target, which would be a retest of the all-time high at 49.51. That is big resistance. It's basically been tested over almost 50 years, 3 times. And if we can see a break above it, then that really opens up the upside on SI. Palladium, we had an IHS which broke up here. And we do have potentially another IHS which could be forming, but really the obvious target would be a retest of this low here at 108.750. On platinum, we've got a keeping an open mind. We killed off the bear flag setup here, which had been forming for quite a while. I am still wondering about a potential retest of the low. We'll see. There are some indications that we might see a bit of a pullback on precious metals this week. HG, still likely forming a bear flag. When that bear flag breaks, it's going to break down a small amount and retest this low here at 4.38, which isn't obviously much of a move. USD, wondering about higher. GBP USD looks like higher. This looks like a flag breaking up with the retest of this high here in the 1.36 area. USDJPY kind of looks like a bear flag. I'm leaning towards the downside on DX here. Won't necessarily see it, but it is significantly. Looking at KC, possible double top here, just been going sideways the last few days. SB, I was looking for a retest of this low here. We haven't quite made it. I've got that in about the 1544 area. I'm still thinking we'll likely make that no current positive divergence. CC, leaning lower towards a retest of this low here. Could this be a bull flag? I think it's too large to be a bull flag. But nonetheless, we could be forming some kind of a pattern which could break up here. At the moment, I don't have anything decent as the support trend line. CT, I was looking for a retest of this low. We've seen it. I'm thinking we may well have the second low of a large double bottom here. There's definitely a significant possibility for a extended move up, basically making a major low here on cotton. Lumber, leaning towards the downside. On the bigger picture, we've broken down from a big double top and could go basically another 150 handles lower. Short term, I'm wondering about a possible IHS forming here. Might see a rally back to the monthly pivot and then probably more downside. ZW, we've still got just another handle down would get us to, on the spot price, on the bigger picture chart, a very nice looking potential second low of a double bottom. So I'm still leaning towards seeing that. On corn, possible, we've got an IHS which is broken up with a target in the 441 area, but we've got this little double top here I'm thinking might play out in the meantime. We're below the weekly pivot. We will see. Looking at soy, no obvious pattern here at the moment. We'll see whether one develops. On ZL, we've got a possible little double bottom here, which I'm thinking might deliver a rally back up to backtest the monthly pivot at 53.16. Live cattle, looks like a bull flag forming. Lean hogs, wondering about topping action here. Alternatively, we could just break up through this resistance trend line. But until demonstrated otherwise, I'm leaning towards this being a bearish overthrow before a significant pullback. All right. We shall see. Let's have a look at questions. Okay, no questions. My pleasure as always, guys. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.